Alright, so after high school, college comes along, and we all know that college comes along with a bunch of stress and a bunch of struggles, and like struggles like presentations, homework, finals, midterms, quizzes, and speeches, of course. And all these cause us to be stressed out, and with stress comes a lot of problems. College students are now suffering from depression, and as college students, I feel that we should be aware of how depression affects us. And as a college student, I feel that, as a college student, I have seen fellow classmates and students fall into deep depression, and I feel that learning about depression can give you a better understanding of how it affects us. So first, I'll give some background information on depression, and second, I will talk about how college students are affected by depression, and then I'll talk about some ways that college students can beat depression. So first, what is depression? Depression is when someone can't help but to feel sad. It seems like a very simple topic, but it's actually quite complex because there's a lot of aspects that go into depression. Like the scientific explanation for depression is when being in a depressive state, the brain has chemical imbalances, and in a depressive state, the chemicals serotonin and dopamine they're really low in your brain, so that's what causes depression, and that's related to clinical depression. And many don't suffer from clinical depression, but there's still people that suffer from depression. And Carol Eldison wrote about depression in a magazine article in order to help explain what depression is. According to Eldison, in a January 1977 magazine article published in Off Our Backs, depression was defined as a long-term condition which interferes with functioning and is accompanied by psychic pain such as anxiety. What this is saying is basically that depression is when you're sad and you're unable to function, and with it comes many other things. So what causes depression? Depression is caused by a sequence of events that leave you sad, and by a sequence of events that leave you sad, it can be caused by things like anxiety, stress, overwhelmment, drug addiction, obesity, things like that, things that just manifest into depression. So first I spoke about what depression was and what causes it. Now let's talk about the effects and problems of depression college students have. College students are affected by depression because it creates difficulties to function throughout your whole day. Like, you can't function at all because you're just dwelling on your depression. According to Swanholm and fellow researchers in a 2009 article published in the American Journal of Health Behavior, it states in 2004 a national study by the American Psychiatric Association reported that 49% of all college students felt so depressed at some point that they had trouble functioning. What this is saying is basically that almost half of college students suffer from depression, and it doesn't let you function, and that creates other problems because your academics go down and you just can't function at all. And in the same article by Swanholm and fellow researchers, it states 14.9% of all college students met the criteria for clinical depression, which can also co-occur with other health problems, including physical illnesses and other mental disorders, such as anxiety and eating disorders. This is bad because not only just does depression affect you, but it causes many other problems, which is bad because we need to be like on our top game in college. I just discussed the ways that depression is affected by how college students are affected by depression. Now I'll talk about some ways that college students can beat depression. One way to beat depression the most traditional way is to seek a psychiatrist. Psychiatrists are they like study that profession so they can heal people with like mental disorders and stuff like that. And in a study done by Daniel Eisenberg and Henry Chung, they presented a solution to how to beat depression amongst college students. According to Eisenberg and Chung, in a May 2012 article published in the General Hospital Psychiatry, it comes to a conclusion that solutions will likely require greater availability of psychiatric care, better coordination between specialty and care using collaborative care models, and increased efforts to retain students in psychotherapy. What this is saying is basically that the best way to, and the solution that they came up with was to just see a psychiatrist, and maybe you'll get better. Most likely you will, because they're professionals in that field. And another way that you can get better from depression is just talking about it. Talk about it to like students, friends, neighbors, just even a stranger, you know? Like just talking about it will just get it off your chest, you know, you'll feel better about it. In conclusion, learning about depression can give you a better understanding of how it affects college students. And I first talked about some background information on depression, and then I spoke about how depression affects college students, and then I talked about how are some ways that college students can beat depression. And you never know, like the person to your left, to your right can be suffering from depression, and you're never gonna know. And they're never gonna, if they don't take the chance and the opportunity to talk about it, they're never gonna get better. You know, trying to goes a long way.